And we're back for part 2 of the Aloha Classic wrap-up.
What? You didn't know there was 2 parts? Like, who didn't know there was 2 parts? Obviously, there was 2 parts. I'm not sure what happened then.
I know what happened. Benny ended it. He'd had enough. And so that's it. I've had enough. I'm ending.
You're just having a really good chat, and we noticed quite a bit later. It's a shame. You missed it. You missed out.
We were just banging on for the next 5-10 minutes, and then Ben goes, actually, it looks like it's ended, or we've just been chatting for
Oh man, shocking. So like, yeah, obviously you need to subscribe to the channel because there's quality content like this being pumped out. He's got it.
Anyway,
okay.
Where were we, Ben? So let me get back to where we were. We were
talking through the men's. We had some tricky heats. I think we were down with that Victor Fernandez heat. It must have been around about then. You know, I was just saying, like, if the wind had stayed like it was, that crazy wind, I think Swift's, the Fernandez, and that might have been, you know, would have challenged that final. I think it just looked like, you know, Burnt didn't look as comfortable in that stuff, and then when it went back to that lighter wind, you know, the boys kind of stepped up, and Burnt definitely stepped up. But yeah, it was impressive. I thought at that point, I thought, ooh, this world title is not a given right now. And then we went on to that world, you know, title playing heat. Marsilio Brown in this one, Liam Dunkerbeck. Now we've got to talk about Liam Dunkerbeck in a minute. Anton Martin and Graham Ezzy. Now this was an interesting heat because who watched this heat? Did you watch this heat? Do you know what happened, Paul?
Well, I know exactly what happened. Yeah, I put my foot in it.
Was Graham happy?
I didn't get to speak to Graham. Like I said, I was literally.
So you didn't hear him then? I thought he might have been really upset because on the commentary they said, you know, he was looking at the judges because it went from turbo windy to super light. Now, my experience of Hoopkeeper, if it does that and you're already out past the you know, in the channel, and it drops, it's very difficult to come back and get bigger gear. So I was kind of surprised that they didn't maybe give the guys an option to get back in. And I think, and which is fair enough, you know, they have their own decisions. And I guess their decision was, without speaking to them, I don't know, I guess they went, well, if you gambled on the smaller gear, it might have paid off if it got windy. But the other guys that went on the bigger gear, or maybe not crazy small, they would have struggled, you know, if it got windy. So you give the benefit of the doubt to the guys that went on the bigger stuff. Maybe, you know, because I heard Brasinio's interview as well, and he, not saying he got lucky, but the one wave that kick-started his sort of resurgence in this heat, which was that 5-6, I think it was he was just floating back in, and it's just perfect timing, and then nailed the first turn. He looked super underpowered, but he put together a solid ride. And again, it's not luck because he obviously world champion, one of the best guys in the world, best guys at Hoopkeeper. But you kind of think if it wasn't your day, that wave, he might have just missed it, or, you know, because he was super underpowered. You could see he needed a bigger gear. And then you can see he only got 3 waves in that heat, 2 to count. You know, there's not a lot of room for choice. So if he'd have made a bad choice, and that's why he's world champion, you know, made good decisions, did what he did, and he ended up winning the heat. But obviously the standout moment was the Liam Dunkerbeck 360. 360. I mean, and I was watching it, and my first thought was, oh my God, that is exactly the same as his dad's 360. Yeah. And then it was mentioned in the commentary. Then it was mentioned by Pollock out. And I was thinking, well, okay, it's not me who's just thinking that, but it was textbook Bjorn Dunkerbeck. And I know that because every time I used to watch Bjorn Dunkerbeck at Hoopkeeper, I was always amazed at his 360s and how he could just pump them out in any heat off any wave, and he got projection and went down the line, and it is exactly the same as Liam's. I'm gonna like, that would be a cool little reel to make, is like the 2 generations of Dunkerbeck. You know,
yeah. Do you think
Hoopkeeper?
You think Bjorn taught him that technique, or was it just?
Well, it did make me think. It's kind of like they do it in Pozo. I do it in Pozo. It's more like an onshore one where you kind of Waimaru, but he's managed to get that projection down the line, and you could see he was super consistent with it, and he pulled it. I think he pulled off almost, and I don't want to say this, but almost too many, because then it kind of took the edge away from it. Because then I thought, which we'll go on to in a minute, I thought maybe he was a little bit underscored in the heats coming up, because he actually was pulling off 360s left, right, and center in one heat, and smaller waves, which probably counted against him. But yeah, it would have been difficult to judge some of these waves. That was what I was struggling with, because the size of the wave. Then there was some smaller ones which people were going to town on, which are obviously easier because they're smaller, but the bigger ones, and that was difficult.
But in a way, this quarterfinal is a bit of an upset, isn't it? Because as good as Lee and Dunkerbeck is, you know, you're beating Antoine Martin and Graham Ezzy, and Graham Ezzy has been sailing really good, and Antoine Martin just pulls out massive moves. So
Graham, Graham was done. Like literally, the wind dropped to a point where he couldn't even get upwind. Like, look at his wave scores. He just couldn't get a wave, and he couldn't even come in. He couldn't get enough upwind to do it. He was still coming in halfway through the next heat, you know, and that must have been so frustrating, I'm guessing. You know, again, I haven't spoke to him, but I'm pretty sure that you know, you wait all year for this competition. It's the big one. It's the one he's wanted to nail for a while. He's probably never really had that result he wanted here, which is obviously getting to the final and getting on the podium or even winning it. And he probably thought, you know, when I was looking at him in those early rounds the other day, I thought, he's got the moves, he's got the stuff if it goes well for him. And then that heat came up, and that is just like a big kick in the teeth, you know. And you know, the Antoine Martin, he was going through until the last wave from Dunkerbeck, where he pumped out that 360, and that got him I think the 520, didn't it? Yeah, he did a 360 and then come up and tagged it as well, and that gave him the score. And it wasn't by much. It really wasn't by much. But we hadn't seen many maneuvers on the waves until then, especially not 360. So it was kind of like a big moment. You know, they could have given more points, but, you know, Hukeeper does offer way more than one hit. So that was probably why.
Heat 2. Oh, this was also an upset. Kyle Lenny, Victor Fernandez exiting.
Have we missed?
Hold on.
We've missed.
Sorry. Sorry.
I think we've missed a heat.
Sorry about that. I moved over to the semis. Sorry. Quarterfinal Heat 2, Morgan Takumi, Levi.
Yeah, Morgan, I thought at this point, I thought my money was safe, him making the final. I watched him sail this heat, and I thought he looks solid, looks so solid, really comfortable. I'm like, he's making the final. He could win this. We'll come on to that in a minute. But yeah.
God, look how close. This is the first time I'm actually seeing these scores. So Levi, he just misses out because of the 4-5, huh?
So for people who don't know, this was a big heat. Quarterfinal heat number 2. Morgan Nareau won it. There was no question about that. Kicked off and just got better through the heat. Really impressive sailing. The other guys all level on 10.2 points. Takuma Sugi, Levi Siver, and Julian Fleche all level on 10.2 points. Now, I think I'd have to watch the heat back. I feel like maybe Fleche was underscored. I had that feeling when I watched it. I thought, man, this guy feels like he's sailing above where I thought he was going to sail. You know, what I thought was going to happen. He picked off some great waves. He got some good hits. And I just thought maybe if he was someone else, and that's not to say the judges did him wrong or whatever, but just my feeling watching it, I thought, I thought he might have got it. He obviously didn't. He ended up finishing in 4th place, which is harsh because they all finished on level points. But what happens is when it's level points and all the scores are the same, which they are, which is a bit weird that they all got 5-2 and 5-0. I mean, usually there should be a little bit more separation, but then it goes on your backup waves. So the backup wave for Takuma Sugi was a 4-8. For Saiva, it was a 4-8, and for Flesher, it was a 4-7. So he's instantly out of that tie at that point. He's 4th place. And then Levi's next wave, because him and Takuma Sugi were tied on the second wave as well, the first tiebreak wave, his second wave was a 4-5, and Takuma Sugi's was a 4-8 as well. So that was what put him ahead of Saiva. And it just came down to that. Saiva could have been through this heat. He then probably could have been in the final. You never know, But I thought Takuma sailed good. It wasn't like no one sailed bad, but I thought I'd really like to watch that heat again, because I wasn't maybe paying enough attention to that first wave, but I'll be interested to see that first wave again. Like, it got a good score. A 5-2 was a pretty good score for that heat. And then he's 5 as well. I thought that might have been a bit more, and that, it was nothing in it. So this is an interesting, I'd like to watch that again. Yeah, I'm going to watch that again, actually, because I want to kind of have an opinion on it. But it was a good heat, good, interesting battle.
Oh, this is a painful one for you, isn't it, Betty?
Well, I knew this was going to be the death heat of death heats. You've got some top riders in this. I'd already picked Bernd and Kai to make the final, which is not something I take Mark out the question lightly. I kind of, in my head, I was thinking, well, if I don't maybe back him, that's usually when he does well. So every time I'm kind of like, I'm a bit of a fanboy for Parry. I think he sails super good. But I mean, Lenny and Bernd in this heat were like, it was almost like they were having their own battle. And I think Bernd definitely won that battle. Bernd in this heat just unleashed, and then you saw Kai with that goiter. I think there was a moment where actually Paré, at the end of his wave, he went for a 360. If he'd have made it, it would have made a big difference, or it would have put it very close. But he was stretching late on in the heat. He didn't have a good start to the heat. He just, like I said, sometimes it goes well, but other times you just don't quite catch it at the right time, and everything feels like it's holding. But Swift didn't have his best heat then. But I thought Kai Lenny and Bernd in this one were pretty good. And again, was Kai Lenny a bit underscored? Maybe he's been overscored, people have said in the past. But I really like his style. I like the way he actually rides the wave. Sometimes he wasn't getting the biggest waves in the heat when he lost in a minute. But I thought his riding was really impressive.
Yeah, Band was just on fire, wasn't he, today? He just
this heat was when he went, this was when he did the claim, like the mid. It's a pretty iconic claim. It's like a handoff to the Meanwhile, not looking at the lip, whereas bottom turning up, and then throw your hair. Pretty impressive. Pretty cool.
That's awesome. Quarterfinal.
Yeah, quarterfinal. Again, Camille smashes this one. This is when he started to, find his rhythm in this one. He was getting some big punts. He had like big punts straight up into another like vert hit. I think it was in this one. Victor Fernandez as well kept the dream alive. Looked like world title still on the cards at this point. Qualifies through this heat. All it takes was a mistake from Brasinho, and the way the conditions were, it could have happened. And Victor was sniffing around that world title. I think that was pretty much it from that. It was pretty solid.
Super amazing. Well, super amazing for Victor. He's been in the game for so long now, hasn't he? I mean,
he's nearly a master.
What's that?
He's nearly a master. I think he's is he 40 yet? 39, 40?
I'm not sure, but all I know is he's been around a long time, and here he is gunning for the Wave World Champion again. It's pretty sick, isn't it?
He's super consistent, that guy.
Yeah,
super consistent. Like I said, if it had stayed a bit junky and a bit hard work and whatever, I would have, Victor, I think had a better chance.
Yeah, Batiste. It seems to me that Batiste, as good as a sailor as he is, not as good on starboard tack as port tack. Would that be fair to say, you think?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. But Batiste is like the port tack down the line. But you can see the potential is there for starboard tack. He just probably needs to sail it more.
Oh, well, it almost seemed like he was improving day by day. And don't get me wrong, he was still one of the best out there. But you just got that feeling that this was not his normal tack. But I mean, if you let him stay there for a season, by the end he's probably winning the Aloha. You know what I mean? How talented that kid is.
Yeah, it's for sure. I mean, like I said, but when you look at these heats, you see Adam Varchol 6 points. So he's capable of getting the score because 2 6-point rides puts him in the final. So you just got to find the wave, and this is the hardest thing. You got 4 riders out there. It's still 4 riders, even though it's less than sailing on a free sailing day. You got 20 minutes. How many set waves have you got? Then you got to pick the right waves, because it isn't just any wave in that set's going to be a good one. There are different ones with different setups. If you go early, do you stay up high? Do you go down the end? Do you know? And there's a lot of decisions to make, and that's why you've got to be in that flow. You've got to be in that flow. If you're overthinking, it's probably not going to work. You've got to be just doing.
And then we moved on to the semis, so it's starting to get serious now.
Yeah, 2 semis. I mean, it was super close. This, I mean, like Brown won this, but, and there is a big but, both of his good waves came at the beginning. Now, I need to watch this heat again.
Yeah, well, let me. I can actually pull that up.
It'd be too hard to watch it now, but I would like to hear people's comments at home. Any comments on this heat? I mean, just look at the scores. There's 1 point separating all 4 riders. Let me know what you thought of this heat. Interesting. I mean, Dunkerbeck obviously had his 360s going on in this one as well. I need to watch this heat again, because at the time I thought, maybe, I don't know, I need to see it. Yeah, I need to see the heat. I don't know if I'm going to speak. I'm going to see what the comments say. Because it was interesting. I thought this was very interesting. Some of Morgan's waves, again, I had him down for the final. Was this his best heat? Maybe not. I think this is when he had that big 360 at the end. And he didn't, like, Morgan definitely was not in sync in this heat. He just couldn't quite get his flow together. And then he kind of manufactured that score at the end. And he just needed a bit more something to go his way earlier on. He needed one settler. But I thought the score from Basilio for his first wave, 6-5, I thought that was like 2 hits, and they were decent hits, don't get me wrong, but there was no maneuvers. We'd already started to see maneuvers going in. Again, I'd have to watch it again, but both of Basilio's scores was at the beginning, that's for sure. So then it felt like people were coming back, and it's when you're watching a heat, it's very hard to remember what the wave at the beginning of the heat looked like compared to what the one at the end looked like, you know. And usually it has the opposite effect. Usually the scores at the end of the heat score more, usually.
Yeah. I mean, it would be cool if you could do a wave by wave comparison. You know, you compare the 7 to a 6-8, and then you can put them side by side. But of course,
it's difficult though, because they're not all the same angle, and I feel like it's maybe a bit unfair on the judges, because judging
of course,
not easy.
Of course, I was more just for entertainment value, just to see, just to, if there's any, how it played
someone's
out.
Gone there.
What's that?
Someone's gone there.
Oh, Brown, 6-5, 6-8.
I'm generally just interested, because I'm saying it from a watching. I was just watching, and the feel I got from watching it, which again, I keep saying this because if you are just tuning in, this is part 2. I've already given the caveats why it's not pure science, is because watching at home, different angles, different, shots from different heights, you can't really judge like that. But it's just the feeling you got from watching the stream. You're kind of like, oh, that was quite compared to that one or that one, which again, when you're in the judges and they're sitting at exactly the right spot and everything's the same, I think, well, that's much more solid, and that's why they're judging from there. And that's how, you can end up with different opinions to judges. And again, it's not to say nothing's right or wrong, because everyone's got different opinions.
It's going to be a little bit hard to go through all the waves, but I'm just going through a couple.
I mean, Basilio's turns are epic. Like, I mean, good size as well. I think it's the first one.
Yeah. God, some of those waves, are they beautiful bowling waves?
That is epic. Because that's the thing, when you're watching it, I mean, okay. So when you see it, that's the first wave. Wow.
I haven't got, what did he get for that? A 6.5 or something?
See, so that when I watch it like that, maybe it looks better than I remember. And that's the thing, when you're watching a heat, 20 minutes, it's very difficult to remember certain things, or you take your eye off one bit, but that's a hell of a first.
Oh,
look at that.
God,
that was pretty epic.
Such a sick wave. Such a sick wave, isn't it? The way that bowled up.
This is how you could get clipped up. You see these people going, oh, they clipped me up wrong. But you could, because what I was saying 2 minutes ago is not the same as what you'd say now. But, like, it's quite interesting.
Oh, here we go. It's a bit of a side by side. Yeah, it's unfortunate. A bit hard though, isn't it? We don't know all the scores.
No, I don't think they underscored compared to Morgan. I didn't think. I thought Morgan had a tough heat that heat.
Oh, that was cool. So that was filmed.
That's the angle you can't see very well. When you watch him from the drone compared to the judges, you can't see the size of the wave from there.
Oops.
Because it's that side view, and you can't tell exactly where he hits it. So and that's the thing, when you're trying to judge from home, it is difficult. Now, that was pretty. That first wave looks better when I look at it like this.
Yeah.
Bam. Billy's saying this as well. I wonder if, and I thought the same thing, I wonder if the youth heats over the weekend helped Liam get a bit of practice in. And I would say so. He'd already had he's going against Hayata Ishii and those boys. They're pretty, solid. They're not easy to take down. So yeah, that definitely, I would say it definitely helped Liam. Yeah, that was a problem. That was a problem with Morgan. He got one good hit, and then the wave just didn't line up for him. You saw with Brasinho's one, it actually offered him 3 hits in the end.
When I spoke to Morgan after this, he was pretty visibly disappointed.
See how much bigger it looks from that angle.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. The drone always makes everything look small.
And that's the thing. That's what you don't see. Like, the judges have seen it from that kind of angle.
Oh, these are replay.
But I think it's interesting to look back and have a little bit of opinions on it again.
Oh, here we go. What's this? Boosh. Oh, that was a sick turn, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think he got
shut
down on it.
What? He got what?
Didn't he get shut down after this? Did he get much after
that? That's a sick turn.
Agreed.
See, that's God. Wonder what they scored. I don't know. Like, what? This is the problem.
Well, the 360 waves was Morgan.
Oh, that was a sick hit under the lip, eh?
Brown, yeah. I mean, when you watch it back, there is some absolute crazy hits. Yeah, Morgan scored for that one a 5.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, but let me just have a look at that.
Again,
I mean, that first turn. I mean, that was a sick turn. Okay, it wasn't. Okay, I guess it was. Yeah. 5.5. I guess the wave just ends from here, does it? We don't know.
Yeah.
That was a sick hit. Oh, that was
good. If you haven't checked out the live stream, have a rewatch. I mean, there's some epic sailing. As I said in the first stream before we got cut off, it's definitely the best Maui stream I can remember. Like, had all the elements to make a good stream. So
just having a look at Morgan's hit here, still in the background. That was a pretty sick hit too from Morgan down there. But Takuma just had a good turn then.
Where's Morgan? I don't even see Morgan.
Isn't it? Yeah, behind. Oh, sorry, is that Liam?
Yeah, Liam.
Oh, sorry, that's Liam. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, Liam did a good turn before. Yeah. Okay. Well, those waves sort of petered out.
Yeah.
But
Lenny's got another kid on the way. I saw.
What's that?
His missus, his preggers, Lenny.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, 3. Bloody hell.
I'll fast forward and just see if I can find the. I mean, Takuma obviously didn't get through. I'm curious of the. Oh yes, there's that turn from.
Like that sort of bomb turn. That's my sort of I love that.
See that was a sick turn, wasn't it? Yeah. I mean, this is the 5-5. You reckon? Yeah. I mean, if he'd linked that with something else,
that's what I mean. It just didn't. I think for me, it just didn't go. You could see in that heat, it just didn't go. Everything just didn't quite go as normal for him. But I thought he looked really good. I really thought when I saw his first heat, I'm like, yeah, he's in the final. He looks on it, like super consistent. And it obviously didn't happen. Okay. Right. Where are we at?
Oh, that was sick. I mean, Brazinho, from what we've seen so far, he was getting the
no, he deserved to be in the final. No question about that. That was never, I think, in doubt. Again, and like I said, as I'm saying, when you're watching, you've got to remember it is hard to remember in a 20-minute heat after you've watched already 6 heats. It kind of all gets a bit blurry for me. Anyway, that's why I'm not a judge. It's so difficult.
I'm trying to see though. I mean, maybe I'm sure we're missing things, but I'm trying to see how Liam beat Morgan here. You know, like what was it?
There was some moves. I think it was the 360s.
Yeah. Okay.
I think in this he did 2 360s. They were on.
Oh, I see.
I think
they're coming up behind there. So Liam's in the way.
That
there
was
he
a
is.
nasty crash. Yeah.
Well, that was a good turn.
There's a 360 at the end of this.
Oh
no, that was a crash.
Okay, so there's
anyone listening audio only. It must be like what you're listening to fireworks.
Oh, true. Yeah, sorry for
no. I'm just saying, but that would crash that goiter as well, Sugi. It was like it came down to some really small. That was a sick turn from.
Yeah, that was a good turn.
Then gets the 360. Look at that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's.
And he always seemed to do it, and then got a turn afterwards. I mean, that's a hell of a wave.
Yeah. No, that deserves a decent score because no one else was doing that in the heat, were they? Okay, fair enough. And then, what's this? Oh, sorry. I'm trying. Oh, here we go. It's just there's Morgan does a. Oh, there it is, isn't it? Yeah, that was shit. That was. I mean that. Oh, let's just see that. So he does a little check. Problem is he does a check turn.
I don't know. We don't know what he did before that. There could have been even something.
That was You see that. This is where it gets tricky, isn't it? Because that is more critical and just it's.
But it's a one hit, but it's a massive one hit. You see in surfing sometimes that one maneuver can score way big, but yeah, it's like I say, judging horrendous. Not judging. Judging is hard. Like it's horrendous. I would hate it.
So Dunkerbeck, he gets another wave with a few wave 360s, does he? Because that's something I just can't remember. Is that what happened, or?
It's a bit of a blur.
For sure.
60s, or maybe it was later. No, maybe that was the big one for that one because it was
near.
It was near the end of the heat. That was it. That was his one that got him done.
Oh, that was sick, wasn't it? He's got such a good. I love his bottom turns, Brazinho. So cool.
The board looks super nice on the rail. You can just see it. Just sits really nice.
But so far, I mean, that Morgan 360 still to me is the bigger move. But unfortunately, like Liam got a few turns in as well, and that was
turns before and the 360 and a turn afterwards.
Yeah. So Morgan, you're right there, mate.
If you have just tuned in, I am half dying of some sort of flu-y type thing.
Okay. Well,
come on, I might not last much longer.
Well, that was the end of that one. So we'll move. I'll go back to the. Let me just stop that. So where were we? We're back to the live heats. That was interesting though, watching that, wasn't it? I mean, that was the first time I'd kind of seen all that, and yeah, I think
it's a big heat. It was definitely a big heat, and Liam Dunkerbeck has been the guy who just stepped up. Like he threw down 360s right at the end of the heats when he needed them, and they weren't just any 360. Backed him up with a turn. Really impressive for him to make the final in the Aloha Classic. Is like, will he do it next year? I don't know, but I mean, to make it at the age he is now and with the limited experience at Hookkeeper, I mean, obviously he's done he's kind of been a fast progressor, because early days he was more into his surfing and it didn't look like he was going to be a windsurfer at all. So he put in a lot of work on the surfing side, and then he got kind of motivated by all the junior events in Pozo, and then he came to it. And this goes with what I said yesterday on the live stream about not just windsurfing, having that extra, other sports that you gain knowledge and information from can really help your progression later on. It's not necessarily you're the first mover, but when it starts to come together, you've got a more whole package. Kai Lenny, Liam Dunkerbeck, again, like base in surfing, and now he's also putting the windsurfing effort in. It's pretty impressive.
Definitely. Yeah. But I'm just looking at these scores. I mean, he got a 7 for basically a critical wave 3, which is probably kind of fair in the sense that, if he just done another turn, that would have gone up to an 8 or an 8.5, you know what I mean, with a big hack or something.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was just a one maneuver wave, and that's, I guess, was the downfall. Would that be fair to say? I mean, that's
the thing that won that heat was some bigger waves. Like looking at that heat now, Brown just got decent waves.
Well, Brown, yeah,
cracked the hell out of them. Whereas the other guys was more maneuver based, I would say. And Morgan, the reason he lost is he just didn't get the luck. It's not all luck, I know, but it felt like he knows what he's doing there. It just didn't quite play out for him. The waves he got shut down. They didn't offer him as much as he could have had. And he just needed basically one more wave that would have cooperated, and it would have been game over. He would have been through the next round. But that's to not take anything away from Liam, because I thought he's totally stepped up.
Semi-final number 2, Kai Lenny and Victor exit this one. What was your take from this one?
What we got, but which one we're on? Semi-final 2.
Yeah.
Semi-final 2 again. Bernd Rodiger just looked like he was, first 2 waves. You were like, well, he's on 14 points. It's probably in the bag. Camille, I mean, again, this is another heat. There's a few heats I'd like to watch back, because I think Lenny didn't have the size of waves. I still liked his riding. And they were obviously scoring good for the big punted airs from Camille. But again, it's a bit blurry. I thought Kai could have got it. I thought Camille could have got it. If I'd have been a judge, you'd have to write it down and then see what happens. And that's what happens when you're judging. You don't really know who's going through. You're just writing down scores. And sometimes at the end of the heat, when I've judged before, you go, oh, I actually didn't realize that guy got through, because the overall impression of someone can sometimes cloud your judgment of actually just 2 waves counting. It's not the same thing. When you watch a heat, sometimes your overall impression, and that might be the feeling with the Brasilio one, a lot of his good work was done at the beginning of the heat. So then you're left with the lasting impression that, he didn't really do much, because everyone else did their stuff at the end. So I think that's quite interesting. But I thought, again, when you watch it with a drone angle from that angle, it's very hard to judge the wave.
Yeah.
But it looked pretty cool from that angle, I thought. But
yeah, that was,
who knows? Maybe the wave was small, maybe it wasn't. I don't know, but it looked pretty impressive.
Here's Bant. He hardly put a foot wrong, didn't he? He just was like landing almost everything. God, it makes it look easy. So let me see if I can grab a few waves. Now here's Victor. Victor with Camille at the back by the looks of it.
Yeah, Victor didn't really have his flow in this one. I mean, that was probably his best wave, was it, of the heat?
One-handed.
5.2, yeah. He looked all right, but he didn't look.
How's this aerial? That was I think the biggest aerial of the day.
Those 2 hits, that's pretty much what got Camille in the next round. I mean, obviously he had other waves, but that combo there was pretty massive, because the second hit, you don't want to underrate that second hit. That second hit,
that was critical. Yeah. Give us a look. They've got a replay of it from memory. Hold on. Oh, that's right. I think Victor sort of, what happens here? He sort of, just eats shit there. Where's the, it's coming up. Okay, so the Camille replay. Hold on.
I liked Lenny's flow. I just thought he maybe just didn't get like, I don't know what that wave scored, but as a wave ride,
Oh yeah,
it
it's real
looked.
surfy style, isn't it?
Hmm.
Oh, hold on. I thought there was a replay. Oh, there it is. Okay, it's just here it is.
That's
Boosh.
massive.
Do I
That's
show the second? Look
massive
at this.
aerial from Camille, and then
Oh,
he was
that.
underneath that thing, wasn't
I
he?
know, I know, I know. Let me see if I can pause this.
Yeah, that was massive. And again, we're from a drone a little bit higher up. That would look even bigger from where probably the judges
This
are.
second, look at this.
Straight on, but straight into that. Look at that. That's underneath the thing.
That's a pretty late hit.
Yeah, you are right
Oh
there.
my god. That's pretty insane. There's actually a lot of weight of water just hitting him right there. You know what I mean?
If
Like
he
that's
doesn't make this, he doesn't make the heat.
yeah.
If simple as that. Like he had
Look at that.
on his scores, he had a 6-7, which I think was for that, and a 6-5. And Kai Lenny had a 6-5 and a 6-5. So if he doesn't make that hit, which is pretty impressive, he was underneath the thing. It like hit him. He didn't hit it. They both hit each other. It was a bit like Rocky and just hit each other at the same time, and then.
But look at the position he's in at the moment. If you didn't know what was going to happen after, you think he's not going to make that, right?
When he hit it, I thought he was down.
Look at that. He's so oversheeted.
How does he make that? It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Really impressive. It's because he gets kicked back upwind. He actually gets some power in his sail.
Look where he's sailing out of there almost dry. Like, see that? It's like there's that.
And that's the heat-winning hit. Like, you didn't know it at the time, but if he don't make it, that's it. He's out.
Yeah, that was impressive. So we've seen this one. So this is the surfy thing. I guess the size of that wave was on the smaller.
Yeah, that was his problem. The size of Kai Lenny's waves was maybe the problem. Well, not maybe, it was the problem.
Let's see if I can find.
And that was kind of the moment where the world championship was lost as well, because Victor needed to make it through that heat, and then he would have needed to beat Brasinho, but obviously not making it through that heat. Marsilio's already in the final, and then it was Brown for the world title.
You see, Kai is actually winning the heat at this point, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And Bant, so here we go. What's Bant going to do here? Is this a goiter or something? Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah, this is the one. Yeah, you see that, how he just flicks that phone behind his shoulder? Yeah. It's insane. And just smacks the lip. I got to see that again. That's just look how casually does this. I mean, that is a solid wave.
Yeah.
It doesn't like the drone makes waves look half as big as they should be.
I mean, it's, to be fair, it's not breaking top to bottom, which is not a bad thing. But still, look at the size of the thing. You still got to make that.
Yeah, I mean, it could go wrong. Could go pear shaped pretty easily.
No, that's perfect. I mean, it's perfect timing, perfect everything.
Look at the way he's just coming down sideways, and you see how he does the head flick there. Yeah, he does the head flick just to get the phone.
An extra point.
And look, for anyone who's tuned in late, if in case you're wondering what that is behind him, it's actually his phone in a waterproof sack, and he's playing music to I don't know, to G him up.
I mean, I don't mean to be a dick, and this is definitely not me being a dick, but I actually think it's illegal.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah. I mean, again, no one's going to be protesting him, but in racing, I'm pretty sure you're not allowed.
But that's racing. Is the same in waves?
You're not allowed a device which can. I think there's something.
Oh, communication.
Again, I don't think anyone cares, but it's I think in the actual rules, maybe there is something that says, because if it's a phone, people might argue that someone could talk to him and say, "Oh, you're 1 point behind."
Oh, I see.
Because you can have that walkie-talkie app or whatever it's called, Mellow or something like this, and you could just interrupt this beautiful song here, Bernd, to tell you you're 1 point behind, dude. But I think it's hard to make a case for it.
No, it'll be easy now that you mentioned it, and someone's going to look at the rule book.
No, but I can't see anyone. Because
it's not going to happen.
It wasn't like he's going, oh, I'm a bit behind, I'll just pump out this mast high goiter. It's like, it's not something that you can kind of just tune into, I don't think.
Like, let me just rewind this for a second, Benny, because I was just thinking, like, imagine trying to talk to your coach at this point, like just about there. Like, he's actually just, hey, how's it going? Yeah, what's going on? How many points do I need? Oh, okay.
He's like, I need another point. He goes, yeah, that was good, Bernd, but just give us the head flick.
Yeah, he's got a head flick. Yeah. Oh, yeah, just the flick. Good on you, mate. Keep
keep it up. Breathe. Don't forget to breathe.
Look at, how do you sail with that thing just flopping in your back? He's got a seat harness as well, hasn't he?
It is mad. I mean, you need him on tour.
That was
you need these characters on tour. Like, in every sport, there's always, these absolute insane talents, but they're not just machines. Like, in every sport you have the machines, they go through, they do their mission, whatever, but then in every sport you also have the Bernd Rodigers, the X factor ones. Like I always say about it, but in mountain biking, like Sean Palmer, just absolute, like, blew up mountain biking, comes up to the prize giving in his sequin suit, but he's just off his head in a different way. But you want these characters. You want them. Without them, I think that's the problem with society now. It's like we try and kill all the sort of individual characters, call out anything that we don't agree with, and it kind of just numbs everything to a point where it's just fucking boring. Like, I feel like you want to allow that sort of individual.
It's celebrated.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of crazy because also brands, because stuff's tighter, everything's more difficult, they don't want to risk it. Look at Ricardo Campello. We've talked about this before. It's not necessarily, can't just get a sponsor, but they're not queuing up for him. But if you look at the talent, look at the coverage, look at everything, but there is this unknown with Ricardo Campello, which is why he's so good, which is why he can do these things. And Bernd has been guilty of that in the past as well, Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting subject.
So just looking at that, this is an interesting way. Look at Kai's. I mean, Kamiya's done a big aerial on the right, but on the left, this turn here, that's a sick turn.
Yeah.
And then
I stick by my predictions for him being in the final. I would love to see him in the final.
Oh, what was that? What was that score for that wave?
No, he just went down.
Okay.
Again, it was small margins for him, but I think I made the prediction. What was it? Brazinho, Morgan, Bernd, and Lenny in the final, and I would still stick with that, even though I've seen the result now. If I had to select again, and they would rerun exactly the same heats, and we don't know the conditions, just who keeper, I would probably pick the same guys, even though they all four didn't make it, because I think Morgan just didn't quite have his heat, but you could just see the talents there, and I still would back him again. And Kai Lenny as well. I totally.
If he'd made this move, this might have been the difference, right? I mean,
yeah. It's really small margin. Like Brazinho won the world title now, but it wasn't a given. Like, he obviously ripped it and deserved to get the final and everything. But even so, even though it's Marcelo Brown at who keeper, you have one bad 20 minutes, or not even a bad 20 minutes, have a bad couple of waves, or things don't quite go for you, you're not in. If he'd have been further down the draw, he could have ended up with the Bernd Rodiger, the Kai Lenny up that top end, which would have made it way more difficult. It really would. And there's no guarantees where those guys were going to end up, because they were wild cards. Not so much Bernd, because he already won Japan at the beginning of the year, but Kai Lenny, 100%. He could have been anywhere on that draw. If you'd have stuck him in the top end, no guarantees.
You see that prone foiler just casually go through the lineup?
Out, yeah.
Here we go. Camille. So you're going to bust out an aerial on the end here, or? And it's just turns, and then kick out. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, it's kind of it is good to see these clips because it does give you a bit of an impression of how these heats went. I mean, Kai does that one sick wave, but then crashed at the end, and then some of the other waves were on the smaller side. He needed a bigger wave, didn't he?
Yeah.
Just to which was interesting because there were some bomb sets coming through, but through some of the heats, this wave's in the medium. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
It like I said, it was like it was just didn't quite go. But I think he could have also got through. Like different judges, depending how you're judging things, that's the difference. But I think it was that big aerial and that late hit from Camille that did that. That was the damage.
Yeah.
And it got light, you know, things are different. With a bit more wind, he probably would have made that goiter.
The wind is light, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Camille just
good to watch. Like, I really enjoyed it. Like the Aloha Classic is well, it's probably the only ones I get to watch. I watched Chile as well, which was also fantastic. So I've watched some pretty good live streams this year. But this is exciting because when you look at that final 16 or final 8, it's insane. Well, final 16, it's insane. It's like it is really difficult to pick. There's so many guys that can cause upsets, and it was again we go to the final in a sec, but I mean Liam Dunkerbeck making the final. Someone did predict that yesterday. I do actually remember someone predicting that.
That's true. Yeah.
Someone definitely predicted that, and I thought. No, I'll be honest. I didn't think. Here we go. Kev. Liam was my wild card. I remember someone saying that yesterday. That was a pretty impressive effort. That.
Hey, look, is that JP on the beach there? Oh, it is.
Yeah, as you mate.
See that? Look at the size of him. Size of those arms. Yeah. Oh, that was obviously when Brazinho was told he was world champion for the 3rd time. So that was pretty cool. All right. Well, let's. So then we get on to the final. So let me just stop sharing that screen and get back onto the scores here.
One thing for sure, in the final, Bernd was just the winner. It wasn't even. It wasn't really an option. But second.
Ooh.
Did anyone have Liam down for getting second?
Okay.
There was only 0.1 in it, which is interesting. Brown, again, first 2 wave scores. So most of the action was at the beginning of this heat. 7 points for his first wave, 6-9 for his second wave. And then Liam's was a 6-8 and a 7. I think both of Liam's waves had 360s on. I could be wrong.
Well, this will be interesting. We'll be able to find those waves. So Brown's first 2, and then the second and third of Dunkerbeck, we could go through that and just have a bit of a comparison.
Yeah, and this was one Camille it just didn't go for him. Again, we've seen that before. And if you're going to have, if one heat's not going to go your way, it's probably better it's the final because at least you're in the final. If you're going to have, which sounds ridiculous to say, but you don't know. Like if you have one of those heats earlier on, you're probably out. But I say he did one of those heats. He still scored 12.7 points, which was probably enough to get you through most of the other rounds as well. So some solid scoring going on in the final.
All right. Well, let's have a look at the final. So back to the YouTube. Okay.
Yeah, Andrew's saying Bernd got an 8-point wave in all of his heats, at least one 8-point wave, which is I don't think we saw any other 8-point waves.
Oh, this is okay. Sorry, this is the women's final. So hold on. Sorry, we touched on this before. Where is it? Sorry, guys. I just fast forward on this JP. See if I can get through all this. Oh, we should show this moment too. Sarah being carried up by Casey, her partner, and Adam Lewis. That's something I've obviously seen here. They're a pretty tight crew, aren't they? The whole, in this case, the Goya brand. All these guys are associated with it.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And Casey's had had some health issues, so it was great to see him,
He's had
back
a
on the
rough
beach.
couple of years, I think.
Yeah. But Sarah's good, isn't she? Like obviously she's by sailing at Hoa Keeper and having all those guys as training partners, you can see how it's
She's
affected her sailing.
training a lot of them, like physically
Yeah,
training.
well, that's true, actually. Yeah.
So, they're all rooting for her as well. So, it's pretty impressive. I mean, and she sailed good. I remember when I first came to Maui, I think she was on her first trip to Maui, which was obviously early 2000s, was it? She was on simmer back then, come from New Caledonia. You're like sailing at Sprex. I remember because
Yeah.
Kai
Okay.
knew her, one of the first people Kai met, and I was like, oh, she's now you see what she's done, made a home there, married, Casey, doing a fitness stuff, smashing it in the waves, it's impressive, really impressive. Oof, that is hard to hit. Like, should you go to points at it? Probably not, but it's so hard because he's a bit late.
A bit late.
Yeah,
It's an understatement. Look
it's
at
too late.
Well, I mean,
how do you not? How do you stay on hitting that? He had to climb that thing.
Look how vertical he is. That's
Well,
just perfectly.
you'd have to be, otherwise you're going to get just.
Yeah,
smacked.
no. But that's it's these little micro details, and the way this board just snaps around. That snaps around in about 3 or 4 frames. That's like literally, a split second that just snaps around. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Don't think he got much of a score for it because it's just one. Liam, okay, so yeah, I'm curious here in Brasinho's first 2 waves and then Liam's second and third, because they were basically scored similar. So it'd just be interesting to see.
They were totally different, I would say, because I'm pretty sure Liam had a couple of 360s.
Yeah, okay. Well, this is the first one, so that's a sick hit. Good size wave, and then another good hit. And is that the end of that ride? Okay, so what was that? That was about somewhere between a 6.5 and a 6.8 or something, was it? Okay, and then okay, so Kamita boosts another massive aerial. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they got absolutely smashed on that.
Damn, it's a shame, isn't it? If he'd done something else there, that would have been a what if he'd done another aerial or some big hit, well, that would be a massive score, wouldn't it? Okay, so.
And that's what it comes down to, he gets that right, and that's what he got right in the one that got into the final.
So this is the second ride of Liam. So this is the one that's comparable to Brown. So this will be, similar score. Smaller wave. Okay, a couple of 10. So that no. Okay, so maybe because he already ridden one wave at this stage. No, this because he does.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So think about that wave compared to what you saw at Brasinho's, but there's a 360 in there, I guess. But anyway,
yeah. That's where the problem is judging. It's friggin' difficult. It's the size of the wave is different. There's only 2 hits for Brasinho, but they're bigger hits. One's an air and one's a turn.
I don't know. I'd give Brasinho, I reckon Brasinho's wave is more. It's just more. I mean,
well, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But again, it depends on what you value, and that's the problem. Like, let's say Camille hits this now, then he's on an 8.
Oh, that was.
If you're giving Brasinho a 7 for that one before, and then this.
Yeah, I mean that was
maneuver. But it's on a smaller wave, but it's pretty sick and gets a turn.
Yeah,
that's why judging it's not for me.
For sure. Look, I'm certainly not having a go at any judges. It's just after the event, you've got the luxury of looking at all these replays. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, but this is the point where Liam's chucking out those 360s left, right, and center on maybe not the biggest waves, and you were like, oh, they hadn't got the same effect as when he did it as a buzzer beater in the first one, and it's normal that. Whether it should be like that or not is a question. Look at this. This was pretty sick.
That is amazing. Like, for anyone who's joined for part 2, let me just replay that. But Bant you know, he's got a phone on his back in a waterproof pouch, and he's actually playing sort of meditative Hindu music, believe it or not, like super calming music is playing while in the final while he's doing this. I mean, it's interesting. You look at him, say, just look how he just looks so relaxed. He looks so relaxed.
Up, like sort of turn,
but how relaxed does he look?
Into like air, lands, deep bottom turn, here like almost air, but like because of the wave, then goiter. I mean, Jesus, it's a pretty complete wave, you know.
Yeah. Bant, there's certainly no doubt about Bant in this heat, was there?
No.
Wow. Okay. So it's a replay of that, and then there's still one more wave. Okay, so this is the second wave of Brasinho.
Do you know, like Bant won his last Aloha Classic, which has confused me because I didn't think it was so long ago. It was like 10 years ago.
Oh, was it? Okay.
When he was 17 or something.
Yeah. Okay.
Has it been that long? I thought he'd won it more recent than that, but obviously not.
So this is actually, so this wave here is a 6-9, and his first one was a 7. Shit, like that wave. Surely that wave you'd normally score higher than the first one.
Well, let's see what he does. Because that first turn, well, that's just one aerial. Go back.
Yeah, I know, but still, yeah,
one aerial.
Yeah,
that's the thing. But what's the first turn?
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Is a nothing.
No, you're right. You're right.
And the second one is massive turn.
No, I was flicking over the scores. Okay, so now
that's the thing. That's one aerial. What's it score? 6.9.
Yeah, no, sure. I was because I was looking at the score and I missed the first turn, but you're right. It was no turn. So then Liam's second score was a 7.
Hang on, I just need to do this because if Jeff's just tuned in, he's missed it. Yeah, we've actually in the part 1 we've been through Bernd Rodiger's soundtrack. So yeah, in the first heat he was listening to Metallica, which probably wasn't his best heat, and then he's his music accordingly going through, and then he finished the final with some Hindu shanty type of yoga music sort of. What's it?
Yoga music.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
It's just like they play a lot of that. Like I hear it everywhere on the.
Yeah, it's like a Hindu, that sort of Hindu sort of just calming music you hear when you get a massage at the play. It's but hold on, let me just go back here again. Sorry, because this was so that was a 6-9, and this one from Liam is a 7. So there's one hit there.
It's another 360.
Yeah, okay.
There's not much on it at the moment.
Bam. Yeah, so that's a good move for him, isn't it? Good way to get some points for him. Yeah.
And when you look, the wave wasn't up to much. It was literally just a 360. What did he score for that?
He scored a 7.
Yeah, see that, and that's the thing. When there's a lot going on, you see someone on a wave, but actually, if you look what was going on the wave, there wasn't actually that much. There was some much bigger hits going down, but yeah, interesting to rewatch some of this.
8-5. So that wave from where he does all the hits and the goiter, that was an 8-5. So that was, that was deserved.
I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, look, after that, it kind of started to the scores went more sort of downhill, I guess.
Yeah.
And in the end, Bant.
Bant smashed it. I thought the Sarah Key to Sarah Hauser was maybe closer than the scores say, but a deserved win, I would say. Although, like I said, I thought Sarah Key maybe underscored a little bit. I will have a look through it at some point, but it's that's not to take anything away from Hauser because I think she deserved the win. I just thought it was a bit closer than maybe on the scores kind of said. But Sarah Key obviously win the world title. Marsilio Brown. They have updated the overalls, but they don't look right to me. So I'm not going to read them out yet because the rankings right now has a Paré in third, which I don't think that's correct.
Yeah, right.
Maybe they've changed it because Pare's 4th now. Pare's 4th and Marino finishes 3rd. Morgan 5th. Yeah, so Brown in 1st, Victor 2nd, Marino 3rd, Pare 4th, Morgan 5th, Costa 6th, Camille 7th, Burnt 8th, Liam Dunkerbeck 9th, Robbie Swift 10th. That's what it looks like. In the women, Sarah Keita, the winner, Lena Erpenstein 2nd, Alexia Kiefer 3rd. Really good result for Alexia. Sarah Hauser moves up to 4th place with that win at Hookeeper, and Sol de Greek in 5th place. Pauline Katz 6th, Maria Morales 7th, Coco Vavo 8th, Maria Andres 9th, and Lisa Vermeister in 10th.
That's a good shot, isn't it? Just the nice tweaked. Yeah, I think it's interesting though. After looking at all these heats, I have to say that I think the judges actually did
a good job,
a really good job, because
I agree. Totally
so much easier to sit here and just be replaying everything and dissect everything to a minute detail.
I thought they did a really good job because I didn't get many feelings where I was like, ooh, like I said, the Sarah Keita one, I thought I had a bit of that, and there was the heat when it was all level. But again, when we watched it back here, I think they nailed it.
This was a good little hit. Bam. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Well,
so it's
well
good,
done
man.
To the
good
judges.
job.
Well
like massive congrats to you guys on the drones as well, you and Rudy. But I saw some epic flying. That was pretty cool. I thought the commentary was good this year. I think there has been some other people, not everybody, because they're probably used to listening to me, but there have been a few places. But I thought this year was really good. Jason Kai did a really good job. Beach interviews as well. Which is nice to see. I think when they do the beach interviews in the heat, though, I think they should straight away go split screen or on the small screen, because it's nice to watch the action even if we don't get the commentary. I hear the interview, but watch the action. Or I don't know, because that's difficult. It's hard to know when to do the interview. I get that, but when you're doing the men's interview in the women's final or the women's interview in the whatever final, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's difficult, I know. But on the small screen, I think it would have been good. Like the split screen, when they do a split screen, I think it's fine. I think it's good to see that atmosphere and the emotion and all this. I think I could see Anne-Marie going, there was a few sort of emotional moments. And she looked a bit like, oh, God, I wasn't expecting this, kind of like, oh. Because it's a big thing. World titles on the line and, big moments.
Yeah, and Aloha Classic is, there's the world titles that is the number one thing, but this is the number two thing you want to win.
Okay, I got to talk about the commentary. I've said it was really good. I'm really impressed. But actually, someone just commented here, so I will touch on this because I did notice this.
Oh,
Kai is definitely quite. He's definitely got his favourites. So Bernd Rodiger, Sarah Hauser, I would definitely put on Kai's favourite list because their waves. They were better and good, but they sounded way better, which was quite fun to watch. Like I say, it wasn't a negative thing, like because everyone's got their favorites. Like when you're in the commentary booth, you've got to be open-minded, but you can still be rooting for people. I don't think that's a problem. I quite like it as long as you're honest about it. I think it's quite nice to feel that's happening. But yeah, there was. The Rodiger and Hauser were getting definitely a lot of energy, which I liked. I did like, and it worked. They won.
No, it was a really good event, and I'm glad that it was presented well. Obviously, I remember last year, Benny, we were getting fed WhatsApp clips from. Oh yeah, what was his name again?
Tomek on WhatsApp.
Remember that was we've gone from that to this. So anyway, let's hope that that level continues. And that was
a big improvement.
No, it was super cool, and so anyway, guys, thanks for. What do you think, Betty? Should we?
We'll wrap it up. I just want to know what you've got planned. When are you going to go sailing? When we're going to see your GoPro of you going on the rocks? Did you learn anything? Maybe that's for another time. Well, because you must have seen some techniques, because you've seen light winds, you've seen windy stuff, you've seen offshore, you've seen you've seen how it can change really fast at your keeper. That's what you notice when you're there for a while. It can just shut off like for no reason. You're like, oh.
Yeah. Well, watching pros going on the rocks hasn't given me a lot of confidence, but no, it's fine. I think a floaty board is probably a good idea because
an attack the end ball.
Especially on a tack that I can't sail very well. I think that's a great idea. I think that's true. I'm actually I think the next few days is going to be probably head with the odd logo high ones coming through, I think.
Perfect. Hello. Is there anybody there? Okay. Well, I don't know if he's going to come back. So if you can still hear me, maybe we've lost Mr. Van Bellen. But we will be getting back in touch with him. But I'm going to end it because we've been on long enough. Massive thanks to everyone for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed to this podcast channel, subscribe. We will be doing more podcasts, and we've got a few little things up our sleeve for this podcast channel. But like I say, if you're not into podcasts, do not subscribe, please, because it just won't work for you. I'm going to try and cut out certain good bits when we do some proper interview podcasts, and put them on Windsurfing TV, the main channel, just like 8-minute clip, 5-minute clips, or something that might be interesting in some of the bigger podcasts. That's the plan. How that will plan out, I don't know. But let me see. I don't usually end this stream, so I'm usually relying on that bloke because I've lost my technical skill. But let's have a look. Let's see. But until the next time, I'll see you later. Hopefully he's not just keeled over.
It's that time of the week again. Sit back, relax, we got the brain of band. No need to stress in the house, it's Van Bellen. The game is windsurfing, you can't yell them or tell them. We get the news, the views, the win biz. The brand's gear, just plus the world's best quiz. The Cubs, PWA. We're professionals without the pay. There's nothing in pole dancing that we won't chat. From tandem boards to a windsurfing cat. It's your one-stop shop for a laugh and listen. Tune in each week or you'll be doing the missing.